Welcome to TEIMAS Talks. I'm Perla Gandara, and today we are delighted to be joined by Sathya, an expert in regulatory compliance and environmental consulting. She currently leads regulatory services, waste management, and impact assessment projects at Cholamandalam MS Risk Services, working with Indian and global clients across multiple industries. Her work focuses on practical sustainability, from zero waste to landfill initiatives to waste digitalisation and ESG alignment. Welcome, Sathya, and thank you very much for being here today with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. And to start us off, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Having worked with both Indian and global clients, what are the differences you observe in how organizations approach waste management and regulatory compliance across regions?
Yeah, if you see from my working experience with both the Indian clients and the global organizations, if you see the key differences lies in the mindset and the maturity of the clients or the companies. So in many global organizations, if you see the compliance is treated as a baseline. So the waste management systems are built into project designs. So they have the support, the strong data. So and they have the clear accountabilities, and they will be conducting the regular internal audits. So the main focus is not just on the meeting the regulations, so but on using the data to improve the efficiency, so and to demonstrate the sustainable performances to the stakeholders. And if you compare with the Indian, so the Indian approach, if you see, it's traditionally been more compliance oriented, so it's compliance driven. So with strong focuses, they have the mindset of meeting the regulatory requirements, so within the defined timeline. So that is there. However, now it's changing rapidly. So many Indian organizations are now moving towards the structured waste management, and they have the digital tracking for the waste management also, and also they are part of aligning with the ESG goals. And they have the clear, so one clear strength with respect to the Indian organization is the speed and the adaptability. So if the leadership commits to have the mindsets of implementing the waste management, so the implementation will happen quickly. So according to me, this is the differences between working with global and the Indian.
Mm-hmm. And zooming in now on some of the real challenges companies face when it comes to waste management, zero waste to landfill programs are increasingly popular, but often misunderstood as well. What does success really look like in these initiatives, and what are the most common pitfalls companies face?
Okay, so with respect to zero waste to landfill program, so now recently it has gained a lot of attentions. So and also it has been misunderstood as a certificate milestones, or it's a percentage targets to get the zero waste to landfill. So in reality, if you see, the success of the zero waste to landfill program is about the strength and the reliability of the system. So it is not just a certifications as milestone. So the successful zero waste to programs shows they should have the consistent segregation of the sources, clear traceabilities of every waste stream, and also verifying the downstream recycling or the recovery program, and most importantly, the continuous reductions is in the waste generation itself. So it also includes the regular audits. They should have the transparency. So companies truly know where their waste is going. So the fate of the waste also need to be tracked. And what I see as a most common pitfall when the zero waste to landfill is treated as only as a branding exercise. So over dependencies, so mostly it depends on the processing if you go for the zero waste to landfill program, and the lack of verification of the recyclers. So and the poor data quality, and with respect to the minimal employee engagement. So these all the major common pitfalls is with respect to the zero waste. So when the true success with respect to the zero waste to programs comes when it is a robust auditable, and also when companies focus more on the process integrity, long-term improvement. So zero waste to landfill programs has become both credible and also sustainable.
And building on that idea, circular economy principles are widely discussed, yet challenging to implement at scale. And based on your experience, what practical steps can industrial companies take to move from ambition to execution?
See, circular economies is announced we are discussing at a very conceptual level. So often in the industries are discussing at a very conceptual level, which is why the implementation becomes challenging. So in practice, if you see, the execution starts when the company translate the ambitions into the operational decisions. So they need to integrate it into the circular economy into their operational levels. So first, the company needs to understand their overall material flow in details. So they should map all their high volumes or the impact the waste streams. So which has helped the companies to prioritize where the circular interventions will deliver the real value rather than trying to fix everything at once. So secondly, they need to step in is the design and the procurement integrations. So the circularity improves significantly when inputs, packaging, and the contract are designed to reduce the non-recyclable materials or the mixed waste and encourage the reuse of recovery. So the company also need to rely on the data systems. So then the digital waste tracking, all which will be very helpful, and the material accounting allow the organization to measure their performance. So they can identify the inefficiency of theirs and make the informed decisions. So finally, the execution depends only on the collaboration across the operations, suppliers, all the recyclers, or even the customers.
And I would like to change now the shift. I'd like now to shift the focus slightly to a topic we haven't explored much in this program so far. And that's biodiversity management. Biodiversity management is gaining prominence within ESG strategies. And how can companies integrate biodiversity considerations into their environmental management systems in a meaningful and measurable way?
Yeah, because this is a very good thing or a good management system which need to be integrated with the core environmental management system. It should not be treated as a standalone activity. So biodiversity management is a very important and the prominence is strategies. So the company first need to establish a site-specific biodiversity baseline. So they need to create understand first they need to create what is there in their existing baseline biodiversity baseline. They need to understand their ecosystems. So what is the habitats is around them and what are the species which is already exist around their operations and how their activities are interacting with them. So without or which is impacting them. So without this baseline, it is very difficult to define the impact or the improvement with respect to the biodiversity. So the biodiversity, next is if you see the biodiversity risk and dependency should be formally integrated into the management systems like air and water or the waste. Like as you said, so we are already have this air and waste management or the water management. Same like the biodiversity also need to be integrated as part of the EMS. So we should have a defining control, responsibility and measurable indicators. Such as if you see the measurable indicators may vary based on the habitats like protection of the natural species. What is the habitat quality? If you have any species which is a site-specific species, and what is the green cover composition, and you can also study the linkages with the water and the soil management. So even though the measurement is very critical, so instead of focusing only on the plantation numbers, that is increasing the green numbers, the company should track the indicators into the survival rates. So how they are going using the native species and what is the ecosystem health. So how we are maintaining or how we are protecting the ecosystems. So this is the main thing. So if biodiversity work best integrates us with the EMS process and regularly the biodiversity shift from reporting requirement to the credible, measurable ESG outcome. So it will help the companies to do. Yeah.
That gives us a clearer view. And now let's talk a bit about leadership. You advise companies across sectors such as manufacturing, energy, and chemicals. Which sector do you believe is currently leading the way in sustainable waste practices, and why?
So based on my working experience or work experiences with the clients, so manufacturing is currently leading the way in the sustainable waste practices. Why the key reasons is what I felt is it's external pressure. See, if you manufacturing companies are often subject to the strong regulatory oversights and global customer requirement, and they have the frequent supply chain audits. So this has pushed them to move beyond the basic compliances and invest in a structured waste segregation or traceability or measurable waste reduction programs. So another factors is the operational visibility. So the manufacturing sites typically have the clear material flow. So it will be very easy for them to quantify the waste, identify the reduction opportunities, and implement this where the circular solution is required for the reuse or recycling, or what is the credible zero waste to landfill initiatives. And now, with respect to chemical sector, it is also progressing steadily with respect to the hazardous waste. So, due to their complexity and the risk associated with the waste stream, the innovation trends to be more controlled and incremental. And with respect to energy, also it is evolving, particularly in the renewable projects. So, ultimately, what I felt, it is less about the sector itself. So more about this commitments is to the more on the higher level commitments or the leadership level commitments on the data maturity. So how will the waste management is integrated into the everyday business decision? So this is my feeling about that.
That's a good reflection. And finally, looking ahead, what major trends do you expect will shape waste management and environmental consulting over the next 5 years, and how should companies prepare for them today?
So, according to me, if you see over the next 5 years, the waste management and the environmental consulting will shift from compliance-driven approaches to the performance or the data-driven sustainability. So, this is the major shift which will happen, and it has also started happening from the compliances approaches. So the major trends will be the digitalisation of the waste and the compliance systems. So the regulators, the customers or the investors will increasingly expect the real-time data like other management system of air, water or the way, this one. So they also expect the real-time data and the traceability and verifiable reporting processes across all the waste streams and the supply chain. So, secondly, there will be a stricter regulatory framework and extended producer responsibility requirement. With this, accountability beyond the site boundaries also will be increasing. So, this will require the company to understand not just what happened on the site, but also the downstream fate of their waste. So it will help them to move towards the circular economy. The third is the ESG scrutiny and assurance with the will intensify, and also the environmental consulting itself will evolve. So from the advisory support to the strategic partnership, so helping the organizations to integrate the waste, climate, and the biodiversity into their business decision making. So my feeling is the company is a time to act. So they have to act towards the time has come. So act today will move from managing the environmental risks to creating the long-term business values.
Well, thank you, Sathya, so much for sharing your experience and your views on these matters. And that brings us to the end of today's session.
Thank you. Thank you for the time. Thank you for having me and the TEIMAS Talks. Thank you.
And thanks to everyone who tuned in. Don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn for more insights into waste management and sustainability. See you next time.